projects. This is not an endorsement for investment. Don't go buying these currencies just yet. But there's a lot of, the sharing economy is a fascinating concept for me, and digitization of it allows you to unlock excesses in our mobile phones, in our hard drives, in our processors in a way that's just not been possible before. And I find that incredibly exciting. So those are the three fundamental concepts that drive how we think about, when we take a step back and look at the business and all the different brands that sit within that business, it comes down to how does it all hang together? How does it help promote equality, efficiency, and innovation in the world? So each of these brands, and actually right now I feel like I'm running out of space at the bottom of this. I had to move the gray area to add Paradox at the bottom, and we've got one missing still. But we're trying to play as much of a role as we can here in terms of achieving each of those targets that ultimately align with the mission that we're working towards. I'll take the next few minutes to just talk about the different brands within the business and what they're doing. We started off maybe 3 years ago with just the single brand, the Coinbase Consumer at the top left, and we've ended up with this. And the goal for that is to try and, there's a spectrum of people. We're trying to rebuild rebuild the entire financial system, but we're trying to accelerate hundreds of years of evolution into hopefully a few years. And it's a race. So that's what we're trying to, get into as quickly as we can. So within that spectrum of businesses, the best way to understand what we do is you've got retail consumers. Let's say on this end of the spectrum, you've got the average person who wants to store their wealth in crypto, who wants to spend in crypto. So we have our wallet, which is where you can buy and sell. Consider that an on-ramp. We also have Toshi, which is a decentralized app browser, and that's designed to foster utility. We recently bought a company called Earn.com. Again, quite an interesting concept, get paid to answer emails. We think that's a good utility of it. And then we start to move a little bit towards the middle with our commerce offering. Think of commerce as, for those of you familiar, it's like Stripe for payments, so the ability to accept crypto as a payment option. So we've got the consumers over here, the retailers who now have crypto, but they want to spend it. And we drive that through a consumer proposition, which is Coinbase Commerce. And then we start to move to this end, which is where we have active traders and we have institutional clients. And there's a lot of infrastructure to unpack and build for us. And as a result of that, we've got Coinbase Markets, where we hold liquidity, Pro, which is for the active trader, Prime, which is for institutional businesses. What we're trying to do is open our arms and welcome and make it as easy as possible for institutional investors to participate in this ecosystem. So now I'm going to change gears a little bit. I think that helps define a 10,000 feet view of what we are doing as a business, what's driving our decisions, and I'm going to give you the ground level, some thoughts around scaling a crypto business. I'll break this down into what I'll call 3 phases, and really this perhaps is a bit generic in terms of a statement. I think most businesses in this space in general will go through this cycle. But I'll talk about the approach, and even scaling a crypto business is a big topic. There's like 20 things I can talk about that. But what I'm going to talk about is our approach to operations, to regulators, and then how we engage with them. So I think our approach, there's 2 ways you can go. Crypto has its beginnings in we're going to change the world, and everything's broken, and out with the old, in with the new. But I think the utopia we've got over here of building a decentralized world is great. However, there's a journey to there, and often I feel people are so passionate about being here that they want that now, and I think there's a journey you have to go through to get there, and we as Coinbase, I'll share our approach. I don't know if that's the right approach, but that's what's worked for us. Phase 1 is the world here today. And in this world, there are rules, there are banks, there are regulators. To exist and to succeed in this world, you effectively need to fit in a box that they understand. So what we've done is we've contorted ourselves into a box. We try and self-regulate. We focus on fundamentals, trust, security, consumer protection, doing right by the customers. And I think what that allows us to do is it allows us to speak a language. It allows us to connect with the existing stakeholders, regulators, banking partners in a way that, in a language that they understand. So I think for a crypto business that has a vision to end up here, you have to start with engagement in today's world. I personally feel it's impossible to scale a large business without partnering with the incumbents. What that will lead us to, and this is, these phases for me, they apply across all our several businesses, so right from the institutional to the retail side. So once you start partnering with the businesses in this space, I think what that leads us to is it opens up an opportunity to engage, to have a conversation with the regulators and to talk about this world that we envision, to share our passion, our vision, and why we believe this is what the future looks like. So you can take an adversarial position or you can be a partner. And what we tend to do is we work as a partner with the regulators, with the incumbents to try and make this work. And once you are on that partner, you've got that inside line, I find that they're more receptive to the ideas because now you're sitting at the same table having the conversation. So that's something that's worked well for us. We've had some success with it. And I feel like we're early days, but we're starting to transition into what I describe as phase 2 over here. And I think that's the responsibility to educate, promote, and to catalyze change. I think that falls within all the crypto businesses that are in this space to try and drive home that message, to try and share the vision we have. And then I think the phase 3 is really, if we do enough of what I say we have to do in phase 2, we get to a tipping point. And that tipping point is when we have the incumbents on site. These are, they believe what we believe in. They share the vision that we have. And I think when we get to that is when we start to build momentum where it becomes less of an option to work with crypto businesses. It's more of a, to survive, to grow. That is the new world order that you need to kind of agree with and work with. So when we were launching in Europe, we could have gone several parts, taken the school regulation, we're going to set up somewhere in the Cayman Islands and then operate from there. But I think our approach was about engaging regulators, working with them and driving change from within. And we continue to do that as a business. That's my pitch. Hopefully, I managed to share stuff that was interesting. I've got about 10, 15 minutes for questions next. So the lady over there's got a mic. If you've got a question, raise your hand.
You really shocked me when you just mentioned now New World Order. We are about decentralization. We're about taking back control of our money and finances with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, etc. The New World Order is something totally opposite of that. It's totally centralized. It's international banksters. Did you really mean to use that terminology and that's why you're working with regulators? Or can you clarify that? Because that really freaked me out when you mentioned New World Order. Thanks.
I didn't use it in the context perhaps that you think it was. The New World Order for me is a change, and what we're driving towards is decentralization. It's the vision that we have where you don't have central parties that control the world. And that's interesting coming from us because we're a centralized exchange. But we continue to invest in businesses like Paradex that helps drive that decentralized feature. I think there's a world where a centralized exchange will always exist because you need, at least for the foreseeable future, you need a on-ramp that can bridge the gap between the crypto world and the real world. But what we believe is in a decentralized future.
Okay, please, is this on?
Yeah.
Please promise me you will never in the future use the term New World Order again.
Okay.
Fair? Yeah, I'm advisor to Director of Interpol, so I agree, you know, things, but please, because that people will understand you differently.
All right,
Thank
New
you
World
so
Order
much.
is
God
off the
bless.
cards from now on.
So you say you want to remain regulatory compliant and so forth. What is made of the allegations that came about last year with regards to market manipulation and insider trading with Bitcoin Cash?
So we have an ongoing investigation into that as to how it was, how the allegations are that information was leaked. What we did do was we learned some lessons from that, and we don't have a conclusion to that allegation and, to that investigation. We continue to work on that. But we launched ETC yesterday, and if you look at the markets, we controlled information far better this time. So we're a young business, and we are in a space that's absolutely brand new, no precedent. What we're doing is we are growing, and we're growing in quite a public way. And again, whether there was any wrongdoing or not at that time, what we did do was learn from that. And we've taken steps to create quite severe, quite strict insider trading policies and the control of information within the organization. So we have something called the Digital Asset Committee. There's a very small group of people that make the decision on what's getting added. We actually, one other change we made is we announce what asset we're adding, both internally and externally at the same time. So again, that's about controlling information leakage. So look, we absolutely do want to work with regulation, and that's something that we continue to pull for. But we're a young business that's growing, and we continue to, if there is something that doesn't work like it should, we continue to fix that.
Hi, question here. I think I've got two questions. First one is, do you believe there's manipulation in exchanges, in cryptocurrency exchanges, market manipulation, where bots are used to manipulate the market? That's one question. Two, what does N do? You just bought that business. N.
What's that?
N, the business you just bought. ERN.